Never has any state government in 400 years of American history embarked on such an expansive effort of truth and reconciliation around the institution of slavery and its present day effects. California is leading the nation, a nation that frankly has moved far too slowly.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta there speaking about the state's Reparations Task Force. And the group has been touring the state looking into the long-lasting impact of slavery on African Americans and ways to make amends. And today they picked up their days-long meeting in downtown Sacramento. So economists told the group that it could cost the state $800 billion to compensate Black residents who qualify for generations of discriminatory practices. That's that is 2.5 times the yearly state budget of $3 billion. But to add context to all of this, that's what was described as the economic loss due to the effects of slavery. So what the price tag would actually be is still very much under discussion. Now, some economists have proposed payments of hundreds of thousands of dollars to people, depending on things like age. So again, this is still being looked at. And in cities like San Francisco, they are open to paying eligible Californians $5 million each, but the jury is still out on what reparations should look like. I also want to know what you think. You can scan the QR code on your screen there and we'll share your thoughts. But I did hear from some people that I met today at the meeting, at the Reparations Task Force meeting, that have been following this very, very closely, and they shared their thoughts with us today.
But one of the main things is missing that we don't talk about enough is the money. I was born in the cotton field. I was raised in the cotton field. Someone has to tell the truth. You know, there's so many lives out here. A lot of things is going on wrong. Help people and give people homes.
Everything that has happened to our people has been an atrocity. To me, it's been enough already. There's visual evidence, there's evidence all over the place about what has occurred, what has happened to us, the atrocities that has happened to our people. We already know. This has been a long time coming. This is deserving, you are deserving of this. We've already paved, our ancestors paved the way for us. And it's hard for Black folk here to believe it. This has been a fight for over 500 years. It's time, the time is now. America must atone for what is taking place to our ancestors, and they're here for that atonement. This is our country, this is our land. To restore our dignity back is a beautiful thing.
We're pushing for reparations across the country. That's my main reason for being here. In healthcare, we need help. In education, we need help. We need to address housing, and we also need financial compensation. I don't believe that it is totally African Americans' fault that they are poor. This was set in place from years ago. And we were brought here as slaves. We have purposely been kept away from money. We've purposely been kept away from the American dream. This is the process that you have to go through in order to get where you're going. And thank God we're finally doing it.
Land is the most important, because if we spend the money off, what? We ain't got no land? No, we need land. This is about the voiceless, and it's about our future. You know, our future with our kids, you know. So when we leave here, we just gonna make sure that we did something.
Now, not everyone approves of this. Critics say that the plan is impractical. Some even say that California was not a slave state, so why should California taxpayers pay the price? But of the dozens of people that called to weigh in on the meeting today, one person voiced opposition.
We have developed an entitlement mentality, and never has it been put on display more than with this disgraceful reparations board.
The task force is still trying to determine some things like definitions, things that like who should be considered a California resident to get reparations and how long should they have lived in California. And the task force, they are meeting again tomorrow, and they have until July 1st to make that final decision. The task force will then make recommendations to the legislature. And again, if you want to weigh on this, that QR code is on your screen. You can scan it. Let us know your thoughts, and we look forward to hearing what you think about all this. All right, now to our next story. Tonight, for the first time, we are hearing from Sacramento County, the Sheriff's Department, and former Sheriff Scott Jones after they were named in a lawsuit saying that they violated a man's civil rights. We're talking about Sharano Stingley. He died in the hospital after Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies arrested him and left him unconscious in December. The Sheriff's Office says that they were responding to a report of a man under someone's truck in Sacramento County. Stingley's family says that he was in the middle of a mental health crisis and was searching for his daughter's home, who lives in that same neighborhood. In this video, it shows Stingley initially complying with deputies, but then a struggle ensued. By the 4th minute, Stingley appears unconscious. And we really have been following this story from the very beginning. 4 months later, there still is an official cause of death, and we've only seen the angle of one body camera. So I want to go ahead and bring in Devin Truby here, who's also been following the latest on this case.
Well, Alex, the family filed this lawsuit all the way back in February. We are just now hearing about these violations. They filed for civil rights violations, federal violations. And what we found out today when we looked over all those documents is that the county sheriff's department and former Sheriff Jones, they want all of that dismissed.
I want all of the body camera footage to be released. I want the 911 call to be released. I want the officers to be held accountable.
On the day the county responded to the Sharano Stingley lawsuit, his daughter Diamond addressed the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors, who did not respond to her request to talk about the case.
Is that an agenda? Talk about it.
Okay, I'm going to recess the meeting right now. We will stand in recess.
The meeting being called into recess. We met with Mark Marin, the attorney representing the Stingley family, for his thoughts on the county calling to dismiss. He said this is the typical response of the sheriff's office under Scott Jones.
They were acting pursuant to the policy, practice, and custom that Sheriff Jones had perpetuated.
In the county's response to the lawsuit, they want to dismiss the violations of civil and constitutional rights against former Sheriff Jones. They say it's redundant because the county and sheriff's department are named. The documents also state that the lawsuit fails to identify a specific training practice by the sheriff's department.
They permit, in confined spaces, they permit control holds, they permit having a knee on the back, the neck, and the head, which should have been reversed and revised years ago.
The response also says they failed to show intentional discrimination to the family's claim of Stingley's mental health disability.
They observed somebody who was clearly mentally ill. Recognizing that someone's mentally ill means you should have to accommodate that condition, which means you back off, you act more slowly.
The county's points conclude on any reference to George Floyd for this case is irrelevant.
The awareness of the need to respect people's bodily integrity and to stop putting pressure on their airways should have been clear to the sheriff long before. That's why we compare it to George Floyd.
So, Alex, the Stingley family has 30 days to respond to this, and they plan to. Then it'll all go to court, and a judge will decide if this whole lawsuit gets dismissed or not. That court appearance already set and scheduled for May 4th. And then the law firm representing the county, we did reach out to them to hear their side as well, but we did not hear back.
And this all happened back in December, but we still don't have a cause of death. We only have that one body camera angle as well. Can you give some clarity or insight as to why this is taking so long?
Yeah, I spoke with the county coroner today, and they said this remains an open case. So they are waiting on a toxicology report before they decide to determine that cause of death. And they said, quote, cases with toxicology and or ancillary tests ordered by the forensic pathologist usually take 6 to 9 months to close. So the decedent died 3 months ago. There was no unusual delay. But we checked in with the crime lab for Sacramento County, and they quoted us that a toxicology test on average takes about 41 days. So a little discrepancy there.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about the deputies for a second, because are they still working? Do we have an update on them while this whole investigation is going on?
I spoke to the Sacramento County Sheriff today, and while we still do not know who these deputies are that were involved, we do know that all of them are working actively within their assignments and that there was never a period of leave for any of them.
All right, thank you so much, Devin. We appreciate it. All right, after the break, a life-saving drug now available without a prescription. How making Narcan more accessible can be a game changer against opioids. Young people and kids across our country and right here in Northern California are being killed by accidental fentanyl poisoning. Like 17-year-old Zach Didier, he went to Whitney High School in Rockland. He died after taking a counterfeit pill laced with fentanyl. And 20-year-old Talia Newman, she had the same fate after an accidental fentanyl poisoning late last year. Something that could have saved their lives is Narcan. And if you haven't heard of it, it's a drug that reverses opioid overdoses. And today, the FDA approved the sale of Narcan over the counter. And some of our communities that have been ahead of this movement, they are like the Sacramento City Unified Campuses. They made Narcan available. Staff were actually trained to use it in case of student overdoses at school. And bills have even been proposed in the state legislature to require all public schools to carry Narcan. We spoke to a pharmacist today who's told us, quote, easy access to this allows community members who purchase them to make good decisions for themselves. And tomorrow, I'm speaking with a mother who lost her child to a fentanyl overdose. Their teenager bought Percocet unknowingly laced with fentanyl. So we will have that story right here tomorrow on To The Point. All right, coming up after the break, there is still a chance the Kings have a way to the playoffs if they win in Portland tonight. So we're there with a live look at all the excitement. All right, we just can't talk about it enough. The Kings have another chance to make it to the playoffs. And when you, sorry, it's been a long day. It's been a long day. Hopefully they make it if they beat the Portland Trailblazers tonight. Kevin John is on the ground in Portland to give us a look at all the action.
Yes, I'm here inside of Moda Center where the Sacramento Kings are less than 30 minutes away from potentially breaking the longest playoff drought in the NBA. If you're counting, it's 16 seasons, especially for you Kings fans. It's been 16 long seasons in 17 years. But tonight, the Kings can officially clinch a playoff berth and clinch home court advantage throughout the playoffs with a win tonight. Now, here's the good news. If the Kings lose tonight, they still have an opportunity to get into the playoffs. They would need the Timberwolves or the Clippers to lose tonight. But one thing is for sure. There are a lot of fans from Sacramento who made the trip out here to Portland for this game. I'm sure you guys will probably hear them all the way from Sacramento as well. And of course, we will have a full recap of this game coming up at 11 o'clock right here on ABC 10.
Man, I wish I was in Portland tonight. All right. And it's Kings Fever back home. We have Light the Beer Beam. We have Light the Beam coffee. We have Beam shirts. We have everything Beam that you could ever possibly think of. And ABC 10's Luke Cleary is live in downtown Sacramento. Luke, I want to see the Beam lit tonight, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Everybody here, I think, would love to see the Kings win tonight. A lot of excitement as fans begin to trickle in here. We're at Punch Bowl Social, one of many places in Doco where people can catch the game, where they've got ice cold beer on tap and big TVs where people will be able to watch their Kings play. We also just so happen to be steps away from the Golden One Center, where unfortunately, on Monday, the Kings just were not able to seal the deal. They fell to the Timberwolves. And you know what we're kind of seeing outside? This dreary, rainy sort of weather is, I don't know, maybe kind of appropriate for the failure to just kind of get that storybook ending in front of a home crowd. But again, they can do it tonight. This is a great vantage point where we'll actually be able to see the beam get lit up. And I tell you, Devin Truby told me that she actually spoke with some of the laser engineers. They've got something really special in store in case the Kings do pull it off and clinch that playoff berth and snap that playoff drought, Alex.
Oh, they will. We already know that they will. All right, thanks, Luke. And we are here to help you get answers and hear all of your points. We want to know, what questions do you have about the Kings? We will get them answered by our Kings experts, Matt George and Kevin John. You can just scan the QR code or text us at 916-321-3310. All right, guess what? More snow in the Sierra today. Sorry, Monica. This is the never-ending story. And it's really causing a lot of pain for the people that are trying to make their way through I-80 at places like Dutch Flat. It just seems like it's never-ending, Monica.
Certainly, and we still have that winter storm warning in effect until 8 o'clock for tonight, so additional snow coming our way. As far as our radar, you can see the big push of moisture moving its way eastward, but in that, we saw numerous thunderstorms earlier today, and that's all associated with a low-pressure system. That counterclockwise circulation still very evident right along the coast as it slides its way towards Southern California. 1 to 4 inches of additional snow still falling this afternoon and into tonight, up to about 12 inches at the peaks, with travel highly discouraged in the Sierra. As far as our 24-hour totals, coming in close to about 15 to 20 inches of snow, but the season total is closer to about 670 to 800 inches of snow. So some places actually reaching some record snowfall at this point. Our total rainfall is at 25.65 inches for downtown Sacramento, and that is more than the combined last 2 years of rainfall, helping us to dig and chip away at that drought that has been so persistent over the past 3 years. As far as total rain for today, Sacramento monitoring site is down. So currently we're still tracking about 1/4 of an inch to almost an inch of rain in the valley and the foothills. And for our highs, it's been chilly. 50s for highs today in the valley, 40s for the foothills, and close to 30 for the Sierra. Tomorrow, not much change in our temperatures. We're still going to stay in the 50s, which is about 10 to almost 15 degrees below average, but we are going to dry out from some of that rain. Patchy fog to start us off tomorrow morning. That's what we'll encounter for the morning commute, but then that low starts to move its way eastward. Now, we will still see a slight chance of some snow flurries for tomorrow, but Friday, a great day. Saturday into Sunday, we'll track this low to the north of us, and that is going to provide us with at least a chance of snow flurries for Saturday and Sunday, and a slight chance of a light sprinkle for the valley. Highs tomorrow in the Sierra in the 30s. As we move our way down the hill, we're in the 40s and 50s, a little bit warmer than today, but still well below average. 50s and 60s along the coast heading into our Thursday forecast, and we're in the 50s and 60s throughout the valley. Again, patchy morning fog, especially for the morning commute, and then a mix of sun and clouds for the afternoon. 5-day forecast, a few flurries in there for Saturday and Sunday. Monday, more snow showers expected. For the foothills, rain expected on Sunday into Monday. Highs will be staying in the 40s and 50s, and along the coast, breezy next Monday. But overall, travel not too bad along the coast over the weekend. I know some folks are starting off their spring break this weekend, and it looks like it's going to be a rainy one into next week. At least a chance of showers. But Alex, okay, 70 for the following weekend. You see that?
Yeah, that's not bad. That's a highlight. I like it,
there
Monica. I'll take it. All right, a story we first brought you last summer on To The Point. The city of Sacramento approved part of its American Rescue Plan funding to go towards revitalizing the North Gate corridor, and it's a heavily traveled area in North Sacramento. So $5 million is being spent on infrastructure to improve traffic, lighting, and businesses. And now small businesses in the area, they can apply for one-time grants. The Gardenland Northgate Neighborhood Association tells us some businesses they spoke to are behind on their rent, and this money, I mean, it could really help.
So a lot of them are family-owned, small businesses, maybe have one employee, and they're still recovering.
20 businesses will be picked to receive $2,500 one-time grants. The application deadline is this Friday. We have more information on abc10.com/tothepoint. Today is National Vietnam War Veterans Day, and it's a day meant to pay tribute to Vietnam veterans of the Vietnam War, including those who were prisoners of war or who were listed missing in action. And you can honor the more than 3 million Americans who served in the U.S. Armed Forces in the Vietnam War. This is the wall that heals, which is being set up in Rausch Park in Citrus Heights. It will be there tomorrow through Sunday. It's a 3/4 scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Along with the wall will be a mobile education center, which will have digital photo displays of hometown heroes. And those are service members whose names are on that wall listed within the Sacramento area. And Travis Air Force Base is also holding events in honor of those who served. One of the first groups of American POWs that left Vietnamese prison camps arrived at Travis Air Force Base more than 50 years ago, back in March of 1973. A famous Pulitzer Prize winning photograph was also taken there called Burst of Joy. We're back right after this. All right, our main point tonight discussed reparations for Black Californians. Economists with the state's task force estimate reparations could cost more than $800 billion, which is 2.5 times more than the state's annual budget. We heard from people for and against the idea of reparations, and we wanted to know what you think. So here are some of the comments that rolled in tonight. Reparation, giving back property which was illegally taken from families, I support. Giving financial compensation and burdening California taxpayers, I don't support. And you wonder why people are leaving the state. We also got another comment that said, we are immigrants and we work hard to earn our money, then pay tax. Tax money is to pay for services to people. And I want to get through a few more comments here. California cannot afford to pay $800 billion in reparations. Where will you get the money? Stop this nonsense. Another viewer also writing in, really, Native Americans had their country stolen from them, and we were literally hunted in the 19th century. And our last comment here, this reparations program has been more than the most insane programs I've seen. You're going to give people money for what? So again, we really do love hearing what your thoughts are on this. Keep writing into us. We'll have your comments coming up tomorrow. Have a great night. We'll see you later. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.